We have already seen part 1 and part 2 of this chapter 3 microorganisms from Bharti Bhavan, and the same chapter is given in chapter number 2 in NCERT science book as microorganisms, friends and foe. Today we are going to do part 3rd. Now we will study about the useful protozoa. Protozoa, they help in degradation of the waste material. So they are the ultimate decomposers in nature, as they feed on bacteria and fungi which decompose dead organic matter, and therefore they are very useful in the treatment of sewage. Protozoa, they are the food of the aquatic animals like fishes, and that I already told you that they act as a link between in the food chain between unicellular algae and some aquatic organisms. That is also one of the uses. Now protozoa, they serve as a food for some aquatic organism. So the zooplanktons are the tiny protozoa which live in the sea, and they form the principal diet, main food of the blue whale, who gulp them in with seawater. Some protozoa, they live in the body of other organisms and help them. Termites example is best example. The protozoa digests the cellulose in the wood eaten by the termites and convert it into carbohydrates that the termites can use it. Next we have harmful protozoa. These harmful protozoas, they cause disease. The protozoa Entamoeba histolytica causes amoebiasis, that means dysentery in human beings. Giardia causes giardiasis, dysentery, while Plasmodium causes malaria, that we have already seen. Trypanosoma, a parasitic protozoa, lives in the bloodstream of human beings, cattle and other animals, and causes a very dangerous disease we call sleeping sickness. And this plasmodium attacks the red blood cells of the human and causes malaria to us. So here it has been given some harmful protozoas diagram: Giardia, Entamoeba and Trypanosoma. Here they have shown the highly magnified diagram. Next we will study about the viruses. Virus means poison, and viruses are microscopic and most primitive organisms known to human being. These viruses, they are neither living nor non-living. They are something between living and non-living. They are acellular, which means that they do not have any of the substances contained in a cell. Then what do they consist of then? They consist of a bit of nuclear material wrapped in a protein coat. So we can say that they show the characteristics of both living and non-living. Therefore they are neither totally living, neither fully non-living. They are so small that they cannot be seen by light microscope. So how we see them? We see them with the help of electron microscope. And a virus consists of single strand of DNA or RNA, that I told you, nuclear material, that is the DNA and the RNA, wrapped in a protein coat. What is DNA? DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, RNA, ribonucleic acid. And when these viruses are outside the human body, they are non-functional. We can say they are dead. They do not show any stimuli. They do not respond to stimuli. When it enters the body of a living organism, it is able to multiply, it is able to replicate, it is able to produce hundreds and hundreds of viruses within that organism body in whose body it has entered. And this is the reason that these viruses can be crystallized and stored for many years. So from where do they obtain the food? They get the food, these viruses, they get the food into that body, from that body in whose body it has entered. That means we can say from the host cell. So how does it multiply in that host body? Let us see here. The nuclear material of the host cell gets destroyed and the nuclear material of the virus takes over that, directing the host cell to produce copies of the virus. The host cell finally bursts in to release the virus which infects the other cells. And this way more and more healthy cells are taken over and destroyed by viruses, making the host organism ill. This is how a virus affects a person. All viruses cause disease and they are parasites. All of them are harmful. None of the viruses are useful to human beings. These viruses, they not only cause disease to plant and animals, they even cause problem to bacteria. And those viruses which cause disease in plants and animals are known by the name of the disease. For example, we will say common cold virus, influenza virus, hepatitis virus, rabies virus, polio virus, AIDS virus. And these are some of the diseases caused by the viruses. Polio, chickenpox, measles, common cold, AIDS. All these are caused by virus. All these are viral diseases. Most common viral disease in plants is the tobacco plant. It causes disease in the tobacco plant. Even the cabbage plant, cauliflower, mustard, cotton, bean and tomato are infected by viruses. So how do we protect those plants from the virus? We spray pesticides on plants. Some diseases caused in human beings can be prevented by vaccination. So now it is the corona going on. What is that? How it is caused? It is also caused by the virus. It is said that this corona is also caused by the virus. Vaccination will only be the solution of these viral diseases. So smallpox has been completely eradicated from this earth by the vaccination. And you must have heard children between 0 to 5 years of age being given the polio drops to protect them from this polio. So polio is also a viral disease. Next we will study preservation of food. We all know that microorganisms spoil our food. So to protect the food from spoiling, the growth of microorganisms must be prevented. So the processing of food to prevent their spoilage and retain their nutritive value for a long time is known as preservation of food or food preservation. So how can food preservation be done? There are so many ways to do the preservation of food. About that ways we are going to study in this part. So here we have been asked, why do we store fruits and vegetables in the refrigerators and cereals and pulses and spices in jars? See here, microorganisms, they grow best at a temperature of about 21 degrees Celsius and the refrigerator temperature is around 5 degrees Celsius. So when we store fruit and vegetable in refrigerator, or we call the fridge, the temperature is so low that these microorganisms cannot develop. and hence our food remains in good condition for long time. Cereals, pulses, spices, pickles, achar we call, they are also preserved with the help of salt, sugar, etc. to keep them in good condition for long time. Dry things like cereals and pulses do not spoil easily. So what is the method to keep these cereals and pulses in good condition for long time? That we will not store them in refrigerator, but we will dry them in sunlight nicely and then we will store them in drums, etc. That is why they are called non-perishable. See what it is written here. The dry things like cereals and pulses do not spoil easily, so we can store them longer without refrigeration. That is why they are called non-perishable. Die. Perish means die or be destroyed. That means they do not die. Non-perishable. Milk, meat, vegetable, fruits on the other hand go bad easily, so they are called perishables. So those food materials which go bad, which get destroyed easily, they are called perishables, and those that do not get spoiled by the microorganisms easily, they are called non-perishable. The question is, what makes food go bad? That we have already studied. That these bacteria, fungi, insects, protozoa, other organisms, microorganisms, they produce toxic substances or they decompose them and then they make the food turn into rancid. That means their quality changes, their taste changes, their smell changes and they become bad. And then we are not able to eat them. So there are many ways of preserving them. So one we already saw here up, that we have to put them in the refrigerators. Second, we saw that we have to dry them nicely in the sunlight and then store them. That means we are trying to do such thing that does not allow microorganisms to develop. Now let us see about the various methods here. Here it has been given: storing food, keeping food covered in most basic way of protecting it from insects and other organisms. But this does not protect from microorganisms. So what we will do is, storing food in airtight container is better. It shuts out the insects as well as microorganisms in the air, because air will not enter, so microorganisms will not be able to enter. Moisture will also not enter. So first we have to dry them nicely in sunlight, and this method is called dry storage. But it is applicable to non-perishable food material. So the non-perishable food material we had seen here in this part. The definition of non-perishable food material. Now next is drying. Bacteria and fungi need moisture to grow. That means water, moist, wet. So drying or dehydrating food is one of the way of preserving it. So sun drying is a traditional method of preserving food. Wheat, rice and pulses, they are cleaned and dried very nicely in sunlight and then they are stored. Some leafy vegetables like methi, mint are also dried in sun and they can also be stored for longer time. So is the case with the potato chips, papad and so on. Modern method of drying foods are not dependent on the sun. What it is done then? Nowadays, instead of drying them in the sun, hot air is blown over the fruits and vegetables to dry them. And other methods are used to dry milk powder, coffee, soup, powders, etc. Now next method is freezing. Freezing is another method, another way of discouraging the growth of microorganisms to store the food at a low temperature. So you must have heard that cold storages are built, big storages are built to store the suitable perishable food materials like the vegetable or the fruit or the meat, milk, etc. Cold storage, their temperature is maintained much lower. So when they supply from that cold storage into the market slowly, then the food material like the fruits and the vegetables are sold in the market, then they remain good condition for long time. If they were not stored in the cold storage, they would have gone rancid, they would have gone bad, they would have been destroyed. So frozen food like peas, meat and fish can be stored in deep freezers for weeks. The temperature in the freezer is below minus 18 degrees Celsius. A next method is there, that is we called adding food preservatives. Food preservatives, what they do, they also keep the food in good condition for long time. For example, salt is added, sugar is added, or vinegar solutions are added to the food material, and then they keep the food remains in good condition for long time without the growth of the microorganisms. This sugar and salt method has been used since centuries from ancient time. Ancient people have also used this method to keep the fish and the milk by salting. Rubbing the salt over the fish or the meat or soaking them in salt solution takes out all water from the food. And when water has been taken out, then the food will remain good condition for a long time. Fruits and vegetables are also often pickled. That means achar we are making in vinegar or in oil, mustard oil. You must have seen your mother storing. And salt is also added in them. Oil and vinegar also prevent the growth of microorganisms. In fruit jams, sugar syrups prevent the growth of bacteria. But if moisture will get into the jar or the pickle or the jam, then the fungi may grow. That's why what we are told by our mother, that when you are taking out the fruit jam, soon we are told to close. We are told not to leave it open for long time. If we want to use for long time, we have to close it, the lid of this fruit jam bottle, fast. So what we are seeing, that in our home also sugar like salt, what you can say, sugar and salt we'll say, are used as preservatives to preserve fruits by making murabbas, jams, jellies, etc. If we don't make at home, we buy them from the market. So they are preserved in the market one also, bottles one also, in the same way. Citric acid is also a preservative that is added to the cold drinks, soft drinks. Some chemicals like sodium benzoate and potassium metabisulfate, they are also added to the squashes, fruit juices, to prevent the growth of microorganisms. That's why we are told not to use much of these packed materials, because they all of them have got chemicals in them and they will directly or indirectly harm us. The company, they have to keep them good condition to sell their products, but in order to keep them in good condition, what they do, they add chemicals. So we are advised to make this type of food materials at our home, no, murabbas and all at our home only, because our mother, when she will make, she will store it in the sugar or the salt like that, and then it is not added, chemical is not added in that, so it will not be harmful to us. Next, what we have in the market, some other antioxidants are also present. BHA or BHT. BHA, what is BHA? That is butylated hydroxyanisole, and BHT is butylated hydroxytoluene. These are antioxidants. That means they are added in the food materials that contain fats and oil. For example, you have the Lays, the Kurkures, no? Or bhuji dal, or you have that, what you call, moong dal. So many things are available in the market. You all buy biscuits and so many things. Then what you see, it is floppy. You will see some air thing is there. When you open the wrapper of the Lays, Kurkures, what you find? Some gas was infilled. If the gas was not filled, if that nitrogen gas was not filled, then it would not have remained in good condition for a long time. So storing them by adding some nitrogen gas is also one of the method to keep the food in good condition for long time. And some chemicals are also added in some of the food material that I told you, BHA and BHT, to keep the food in good condition for long time. Now let us see what has been given in our book. Heating, drying, freezing or storing food in airtight containers prevents microorganisms from growing but does not kill them. Heating does. That means when we will heat, we will kill them. That is why we boil our milk again and again. So pasteurization is a method, it is a technique of heating wine to about 60 degrees Celsius for a short time in order to kill the bacteria. And it was found out by Louis Pasteur, a French chemist. And when he heated that, it killed the bacteria and then it was cooled and stored. Now the same process of pasteurization is used to store food material, milk in sterile bottles or packets. Here pasteurization is done in this one. This packed one, Sudha milk or whatever milk you all buy, kills the harmful bacteria in them. Next we have canning. Canning means what? Here it has been shown here, canning one. Heating kills microorganisms and taking away air prevents reinfection. That means how canning is done. Food is first heated to a high temperature to kill the bacteria, spores and other microorganisms, and then they are packed in airtight containers. And that's why when we bring these things at our home, what we are advised, we are told that when you take out the thing from the can, put the lid fast, close the can fast, so that air does not get enter into it and a microorganism not enter into them, otherwise again infection will occur. Next we have vacuum packing. Tea, coffee, chips and other snacks are vacuum packed or packed in carton cans or packet from which air has been removed. But instead of air that has been removed, nitrogen gas is filled, that I have already told you. And this serves the purpose of keeping the food in good condition for long time. So we have studied the different methods of food preservation. So we saw that we preserve the food for we do various methods, we apply various methods of food preservation to keep our food materials good condition for long time, because if we will not keep them in good condition for a long time, we may have shortage of the food material. Also, if we will eat that infected one, diseased one food material, spoiled one, rotten one, then we will develop food poisoning. We may start suffering from food poisoning, and food poisoning is a very serious disease. It causes death of the person. So if food materials are left over in your home, store them properly, and if it is in good condition, then only you should consume, otherwise throw them. First of all, we are advised to cook as much as amount we require, not to cook extra. We should eat fresh food. So I hope you all have understood this chapter. If any one of you are new to my channel, please subscribe the channel and like my videos. Those your friends who don't know about my channel, please share them my channel's videos. Give them the idea about my channel. So study nicely. Wish you all the best. Thank you.